Let's get this Instagram feed going. And there we are. I am Coach James. I'm the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics, which is a science program where I use Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics-related topics, including but not limited to friction, force, aerodynamics, drag, lift, kinetic energy, potential energy, Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion. We get into elastic energy, elastic force, a whole range of topics after we have conducted all kinds of experiments to drive home those concepts and had discussions. Then and only then do I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars, and each student gets the opportunity to select a Hot Wheels car they think would be fastest in a series of races based on everything that they've learned in the course. Once they've picked their cars, they weigh their cars, they test the speed of their cars, they check the year the car was manufactured, the materials the car is made from. All the information that they can observe, they document that in a spreadsheet, and then there's only one thing left to do. They set up a 1/64th scale quarter-mile drag strip, and we race the cars. And they race the cars and observe how their cars perform. Did their cars perform up to or below their expectations? And if they had the opportunity, would they choose that car again, or would they make a different choice based on everything that they have learned? In the end, we have fun with Hot Wheels cars, and we learn science. What could be better? If you would like more information about our science program, all about aerodynamics and how to bring it to your school or your organization or your special event, all you have to do is go to our website, Aerodynamics. If you're watching on YouTube, then you can see the information right there. Or you can, if you're watching on Instagram, you can just go to the bio, and all the information you need to contact me is there, and you can find out how to bring our program to your school or your organization or your special event. But this is not all about aerodynamics. This is all about Aerodynamics Presents Wind Tunnel Wednesdays. So what is that? Well, we happen to have access to the Funtech Labs Windsible, which is a 1/64th scale wind tunnel. We can take Hot Wheels cars, put them into the wind tunnel, crank it up, see how the air flows over, under, and around those cars. And based on what we observe, then we can make determinations about how the cars will perform on the track. And every Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific, we have AtTheTrack.live, where I introduce new cars into our fleet, and viewers have the opportunity to select cars that they want to see race. We take those cars, we take a look at them, do a little review, and then we take them to the track, have a little tournament, and see which car comes out on top. That's on Saturday. But today, you can use the same method to decide which cars you want to race on Saturday, but this is where you get to kind of pick and choose and look over the cars and get a better idea. So, what you do, here's how you do it. You go to this website down there, AtTheTrack.live. Hey, Jordan, I'm just about to explain it, and if that's the name of the car, the solid muscle, if that's the name of the car, I can check my spreadsheet to see if we have that. But if there is a car that you think you want to pick, you go to AtTheTrack.live. You'll have 3 options: the Twitch stream link, the YouTube stream link, but then the third option says choose your car. Select that, and you will be taken to this page. And on this page, all of the cars that are currently in the All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live fleet are listed, cataloged, and numbered. And we are now up to 938. We have 938 different Hot Wheels cars to choose from currently in the fleet. And we have all kinds of cars. We have character cars, we have fantasy cars, we have regular cars, we have cars from the 70s, 80s, 90s. We have cars from the 2000s, some cars that were just released this year. So it is just every kind of car you can imagine. And all you have to do is find the car that you want, and you click on that car, and you can take a closer look. So if it's this one, if it is this Lamborghini Gallardo LP 570-R, you can take a look at it. You can see from the reflection in the mirror whether or not it is a metal body on a plastic base or a plastic body on a metal base, or in some cases for the older cars in our fleet, metal on metal. And all you have to do is take the number of the car that you want, in this case 134, you drop that in the chat and I will pull that car. And today we'll take a look at that car in the wind tunnel, and on Saturday we will put that car on the track up against the other cars that the other viewers have picked. So let me look at the spreadsheet right now and see if there is a car, if we have a car called Solid Muscle. I know there's lots of muscle. We have Muscle Speeder. Let's see. Let me sort this and go down and see. We do not have a car called the Solid Muscle. Jordan, are you sure? Is that the name? Is that the name of the car? If so, I don't have that. But it is a car that I could, usually if somebody recommends a car and I don't have it, I will go online and try to find it. And especially when I find cars, like sometimes I'll go to other channels, often I'll go to other channels that have gravity track races, and I will check and see which cars are winning the gravity track races. Now, our track is a flat drag track. So usually the cars that do well in the gravity track that doesn't necessarily translate to our track. Okay, so he says it's a truck from the Hot Wheels Let's Race series. Interesting. So I'll need to look that up, because in some cases, like I have a whole crate full of trucks, and some of the trucks, especially if they have like the wider bodies or bigger tires, they are too wide to fit into our launcher, so I haven't pulled them out. But I will check, because obviously when you look through, just at this section right here, there are quite a few trucks. Like we have this 96 Chevy 1500, this trim TRK, and this customized C3500. That's just right there. So there are plenty of trucks in there, but that one I'm gonna have to look up and check and see. Let's see if we have so there's let's see, Never Ending saying there's a Dodge Viper SRT from 97-98 that has gold rims. Nice. I absolutely know that we have a Viper in here. Yeah, we have three that I have listed. We have a Dodge Viper GTS R, another of those, and then a Dodge Viper SRT 10 ACR. And let's see, I don't know if there's any specifically with a year number, but let's go ahead and take a look at, so Never Ending's going with car 260, and the Buzzerk. Okay, so Never Ending is known for gaining this reputation of picking the most out-of-the-box cars that we have in the fleet. And with this one, the Buzzerk, it's interesting because I remember I don't know if we were considering this one, someone was considering this one, or it almost made it, because the question was whether or not that buzzsaw at the top actually touched the ground and therefore would start to spin. So if it's lifted up a little higher than the wheels, and it's just sort of free floating, that's one thing. If it's actually touching the ground and that's how it spins when the car moves, that could be another issue. But we will pull that car and we will definitely take a look at it. Roughshod has a couple of cars that he's considering. How you doing? I pulled those, and Christopher also, had a couple of cars that he's considering. Well, all of these cars, once they get once the final picks are locked in and made and we hit the track on Saturday, then we will take the cars to the track. We will have our tournament and we will find out which car is going to be the one that is going to end up taking on our fastest in fleet car. And our fastest in fleet car is and has been for a little while now this one. It is the BlitzSpeeder. The BlitzSpeeder is in its third run as fastest in fleet champion, and Never Ending, with one of his out-of-the-box picks, ended up beating out the BlitzSpeeder. But then Roughshod came back with a pick of his own that beat the Dogfighter. But then the BlitzSpeeder came back and beat that pick. So it was a strange tournament for sure. But at the end of the day, we ended up with the BlitzSpeeder back on top. And it is our fastest in fleet car. And even when it has lost, it still remains. It's still one of the fastest cars in the fleet. And for our purposes, it's important to try to figure out why that is. And I think after all this time, we have come to figure out that basically the shape and design of this car allows it to minimize the impact of drag. And that is the most significant force that's working against these cars when they're on our track. There's gravity, there's drag, and there's friction. And for most cars, if they're going to stay straight on the track, then it's really just the four wheels in contact with the track that is where the friction element is. And that's pretty much across the board because most of the cars have the same kind of wheels. Then we have gravity. Depending on if a car is within a range of about 32 grams to 36 grams, then it's gonna be okay. And it's not really gonna have too much of an issue. When it gets outside of those ranges, either a car that's really light or a car that's really heavy by those standards, they start to have problems at the back end of the track. And for the lighter cars, drag starts to slow them down. For the heavier cars, the gravity and the amount of force that they've gotten from the launcher end up coming into play, and they start to slow down at the back end. So when we get down to it, if you have a car right in that range, that sweet spot, 32 to 36 grams, what you want next is a car that can reduce the impact of drag. And what we see with the BlitzSpeeder is that that's exactly what it does. So when we look at this BlitzSpeeder, because I have three, so I might as well put them all to use. When we look at the BlitzSpeeder, what we're seeing is the shape of this car. The air, and what we'll see when we turn this on, the air is going to hit the front of this car, and then it has to go over, under, and around. There's not a lot of frontal area. It's going to come up over the hood, and then this is key. Where it hits the windshield, because this is a fantasy car, the windshield is kind of laid at a very low angle. So the air flows from the hood right up the windshield to the roof. And that transition from the windshield to the roof line is pretty smooth. And what you'll see is that airflow will just flow right across that roof line. And then there's no drop off. Here's the other thing. There's no drop off at the back of the BlitzSpeeder from the roof down to the car like you see with most, not most, but especially the traditional cars. And so it's a pretty solid line, just right across the top, right across this tail, right across over up to that wing, and right off. The wing is wide. It has a good, it gets good solid launches. And if I move this to look at the top of the car, maybe this is the angle, you can see that there's no drop off from the roof. It just goes from the roof, just kind of extends all the way back to the tail. There's two openings right beneath the wing, and those kind of rear, I don't know if you'd call them fenders or what, but this area right here, it's kind of raised and channels, seems to channel that air that comes off the roof, channels it right back through those openings and over the wing. And the BlitzSpeeder is able to reduce the impact of drag. So let's see what that looks like. Let me go ahead and lock this in and go ahead and fire the Windsible up. I mentioned last week that the company that makes the Windsible, let's get that little pop of smoke that usually happens right at the beginning. They introduced some new nozzles, and so you can be a little more creative with the smoke streams. Right now we're at 67 miles per hour, which is basically our cruising speed. And you can see how the air is flowing up over the car. But let's go ahead and turn this up a bit. Up to 107 miles per hour. And we are still seeing that airflow. And really it's, you know, once you compare it to other cars, in particular cars that have more traditional shapes, you'll see where the airflow will break away from following the lines of the body of the car. We're at 121 miles per hour, 147. And this is pretty much what you want to see, just sort of undisturbed airflows. And there's nothing on the BlitzSpeeder, there's nothing sticking up, there's nothing. So for example, with the BlitzSpeeder, if this driver's compartment was open, if that windshield roof canopy was not there, I don't think this car would have the same level of performance. And I might, since these are in the store now, yeah, rough shot, yeah, these are the new ones, I might buy another one of these and then just crack this canopy open and see if I can cut it out and pull it off, and then see what happens. See what kind of changes that makes. We're at 174 miles per hour. Because we've already seen that we have put the BlitzSpeeder in against other BlitzSpeeders. So we know for a fact that it's not just that yellow BlitzSpeeder is special. Every BlitzSpeeder, when we had BlitzSpeeder versus BlitzSpeeder, the outcomes were about the same. Let's push this up to 188 miles per hour. And again, it's just very clear. There's no disruption in that airflow. That air is hitting the car, coming right up over the top, and just flowing right to the back. All the Hot Wheels cars are pretty much flat under the bottom, so all things are pretty much equal in that regard. But this is what we're looking at. And the BlitzSpeeder is able to maintain a higher rate of speed longer down the track than some of the other cars. So that is what we're looking at. That is the bar that these other cars need to match, and we will see if they can do that. So let's go ahead and wind this down. The BlitzSpeeder, sort of the gold standard. But what we know now is, thanks to the Gazella R, thanks to the Dogfighter, we know that the BlitzSpeeder is not unbeatable. It can be beaten, and it can be beaten by, just has to be the right car. So the question is, are we going to find the right car? And we're going to take a look at what may be the right car. So one of Roughshod's picks that he is considering to race is this one over here. Let's switch this, get this camera switched up and take a look. Come on, switch it over. There we go. This is the Surf Crate, and it is an open wheel car, which is always dangerous on our track. Open wheel cars only because they can possibly, the launcher shoots cars out with a lot of force. If they come off the track and hit the barriers, then they could end up like our old boy Forky, who he was one and done. He went off that track, and this wheel hit the barrier, bent that axle, and that was it. This car has been retired because there's no way for me to straighten that axle or fix it. So this is just, Forky is just a cautionary tale of what could happen when you pick an open wheel car. But this may be the one. This may be the open wheel car to get the job done. This is the Surf Crate, and it's pretty wild. Now the windshield, or where the windshield would be, this area is open, so the air is going to be able to flow in there and out the back, because I'm pretty sure this came with a surfboard, a little plastic surfboard that's stuck in there. And as a matter of fact, I think that surfboard it's floating around my desk somewhere. I took it out and never put it back in because it's just a little piece that the students would lose anyway. So I took that out, and I know I've seen it floating around here, but it's not going to race with it in. But the point is that this whole area is open, so the air should just be able to flow right through there. Now, there is a little section for a seat in there, so it is possible that there is an opening. So as that air travels through, could it get caught up in that area as opposed to just flowing through kind of smoothly? Possibly, and probably. But that is one of the things that we will, hopefully, maybe we'll be able to see some of that when we put this car in the wind tunnel. So let's go ahead and jump back over to the wind tunnel and get the Surf Crate in position. Other than the, it's got the larger wheels at the back. That's cool. I like that stance that the cars get when that's the setup. All right, let's take a look at the Surf Crate. Get this fired up. That's good. I like that profile. That's a good looking car. I like that. All right, let's drop it. Let's get it going. 67 miles per hour. And I like when we first turn on the wind tunnel, and you can see how the air, you can see when the air first comes out, how it hits the car and how it flows over. After, it starts, sometimes it gets a little murky and hard to see, but when that air first hits, you can see exactly the path that it's going to take over that car. And we saw it hit and go right up over that top. So let's go and turn the speed up a little bit. We are up to 107 miles per hour. And now I think you can see that the air is hitting this this grill right in the front and then kind of curving up over the top. It's not like the BlitzSpeeder because there's no smooth kind of transition for the hood. So it's definitely just flowing up over the top. And that's at 107 miles per hour. Let's turn it up and see what we get. 134 miles per hour. And I'll lift this up just a little bit and kind of see. Not really seeing too much from the top view. Not a lot that's giving more kind of visual information. But let me turn this up. We're at 100 and, oh, see? This Windsible, I mention this every week. This is version 1.0 that I have, and it's got some quirks. One of the quirks is sometimes it just turns itself off. But we aren't deterred. We just go ahead and fire it right back up. And I've been getting emails that Funtech Labs, the company that makes the Windsible, is, I guess they're ready to launch their 1/18th and 1/24th scale Windsibles. So for bigger cars, and I've seen the pictures on their website. Those units are big. This one's not too big. It's maybe about, it's just probably just over a foot long, and maybe, I don't know, about 6 inches wide, about 6 or 7 inches tall. But those other ones are huge, and there's some changes that they've made. I think Christopher was telling me that they've changed some of the controls and the dials. This is the controller, just has this click wheel and this little round display right there. And as you can see, we're up to 147 miles per hour. We're going to push this up. I think there's also probably better filtering on the newer units. This one does leak some of the smoke out of the back from time to time. I am going to go out on a limb and presume it's not toxic, but it does kind of leak out. It doesn't really impact the working of the machine, of the wind tunnel. All right, we're at 174 miles per hour, and I think that the air is doing a couple of things. It's hitting this front, it's flowing up over the top. When it gets to the roof line, I think some of the air is absolutely hitting the roof, coming up over the top, especially air from this third stream. It's hitting the roof, going up over the top. Some of that air that's coming up from the second stream seems to be hitting and passing through. It's kind of faint, but the air is getting into the cabin and then coming out the back. So it's not, but there is also, there's a bit, it's hard to see, but like right inside the cabin, there is the air kind of swirling around a little bit, because this is an open area where the driver would sit, and so there's air that's getting into there, and it's kind of just swirling around. But for the most part, we are seeing what we're seeing with the surf crate, and we will find out if that is what roughshod the car he's going to go with. What we do have is he made another pick, which was the Seared Tuner, which I actually need to look on this page to see, because it's in a different case. There's a set of cars that I use for a different lesson that I teach, and so those cars are set aside, and it's in that group, but I just don't know what it looks like. I know where it is, but I just don't know what it looks like. So let's go ahead and look at car number 329. 329. This one, the Seared Tuner. All right, so that's a little more traditional style car. Here it is, right here. Put it up. Put it on the turntable. And let's take a look at this one. The Seared Tuner. Pretty straightforward. Tight little compact tuner car. Reminds me of, I forget the car. Virgo picked it about a month ago. It was that Chippendales. I forget the name of the car, but I remember it had like the little Disney Chippendale graphics on it. And that car actually did pretty well. And it was just kind of a tight, compact, two-door coupe tuner type car. This one's got the little wing at the back. It has the wing doesn't stick out further than the back bumper of the car. So as far as the part of the car that's going to be pressed up against the launching block, that would not be the wing for this car. It would be that back bumper. Everything else about it, I don't really see anything that's gonna impede the airflow all that much. But let's go ahead and put it in the wind tunnel and see what we're gonna see from this one. All right, let's go here. Drop these wheels in. Let me make sure it's straight. Line it up in the center. All right, here we go. The Seared Tuner. I don't think I've seen this one race. All right, let's go ahead and see what that initial airflow is like. And you can see it right there when it starts up and sort of comes into focus. That's like the clearest example of how that air is going to flow over that car. And so right now it's a little murky because we're only at 40 miles per hour. Let's get up to our cruising speed, 67. It blows some of that other air out of the way. But this car, you see that the air is definitely kind of stacking up at the front end, and then as it flows over the top. But let's get the speed up, push this up a little more, and it clears out some of that visual clutter. But you can see right here where you get that brighter white buildup. It's where that air, that high pressure, that air is just building up right at the front of the car, and it's got to go somewhere, over, under, and around. And we can see when it's coming up over the top. This car, now the windshield angle isn't steep, but it's a little steeper than what we saw with the BlitzSpeeder. But that air is flowing right up over the top, and when we get to this point on the roof line, that's when that air is starting to separate from following the body lines of the car. And when you get that separation, that's when you get that area, that low pressure. And you've got the high pressure in the front, the lower pressure in the back. The pressure is trying to move from areas of high pressure to low pressure, and that's creating that pressure drag that's going to work against the car's forward momentum. And that is not going to be, that's not going to be helpful. And it's just going to work against the car, really getting the max. We're at 107 miles per hour. Let's turn this up and see what we see. We are at 134 miles per hour. And that is, we're still seeing it. And you see right here that air is hitting, it's coming up here, and then it's just tailing off. And that is something that you didn't see with the BlitzSpeeder. And that's not to say that this car won't be fast or competitive, because it almost certainly could be. And it's all about matchups anyway. But that is what we're looking at. Those are sort of the things that the little subtle differences, because when you see it on the track and you see those cars that are close and then one car starts slowing down, there's something's going on, and it just depends on the car, what factors are working against it. So this is at 134. Let's go ahead and turn this up to 147 miles per hour. and then 161 miles per hour. And all we just see is a more clear example of what we saw at the lower speeds. Air's hitting the front, coming up over the hood, hitting that windshield, coming up over the top, and when it gets to the middle of that roof line, it just sort of tails off from the body. Is some of the air flowing down the back? Yes, it is, but we're also seeing that separation. So how that will play out for this car, it's hard to say. It still does look like the bumper, the back bumper right here is sticking out just a little further than that wing. So I think that that will be the area where the car is pressed up against the launching block, is right here at that bumper line. And I guess the Windsible has decided that it's time to move on because it just clipped off once again. So that is the Windsible. Now, the Windsible telling us to keep it moving. So we'll do that. But those are two very different cars. So question is which one Roughshot is going to go with. And he's got the surf crate. And that's that open-wheeled kind of rat rod, dragster, station wagon, or this one, which seems like a solid pick. Okay, Roughshot, he said he's going with the surf crate, and we're gonna see what that one will do. The Seared Tuner is going to go back and wait for somebody to pick it. I think this is probably the closest it's ever come to being selected, but it was not. So we'll see what's up with the surf crate. Now, this is an interesting pick. So Christopher had two cars that he was considering. And one is this truck, the Beach Patrol. And this is one that I had when I was a kid. So this is an 80s car. And what we know about these 80s Hot Wheels cars is they were not cutting corners. This is metal. This is a metal body on a metal base with those old school 80s wheels. And I guess we've got a surfing theme because this one has two surfboards. That surf crate has a little plastic surfboard that's around here somewhere. I know that as soon as I finish up with the stream, get everything shut down, that surfboard is just gonna pop up. But nevertheless, we're looking at this one. So this is the Beach Patrol, and I wish Christopher were here so he could kind of give us some insight as to why he picked this one. Now there's some cars that when you look at them on the website, it's hard to tell the materials they're made of, and therefore it's hard to tell the weight. This is all metal. I don't know what this weighs, and we won't know until Saturday, but whatever it weighs, it's going to be heavy. I can just touch it, and it feels heavy. So this might end up being the heaviest car that we have ever raced on the track. It could be. When we put this in the wind tunnel, this is going to be brutal as far as aerodynamics, because this is just a regular pickup truck. And we're going to put it in the wind tunnel and see, because this is one of the two cars that Christopher's considering, unless I wrote the number down wrong. What's the year on this? 1982. That is what we're looking at with this one. So we're going to put this in the wind tunnel, and I'm not even going to put the wheel stands on there because this is big and heavy and can just stand on its own. So we're going to leave that right there. So Roughshot saying you didn't like that front end of the tuner was a little there's a lot of frontal area, and what you don't want is anything just starting off slowing the air down. But I think speaking of slowing the air down, I think that's definitely what we're going to see with this one right here. This is a big, solid truck. I remember I had this one, and then I had this other one that had a snowplow on the front, and it was possibly the exact same truck, just with a snowplow in place. And in fact, I have it here, and we'll take a look at it after we see what's going on with the beach patrol. So we could already see right at the beginning that air is hitting the beach patrol, flowing up over the top. And as I push this up to 94 miles per hour and get some of that visual clutter cleared out of the way, we can see that air hitting this frontal area, coming up over the hood, hitting that windshield that's at that traditional angle, and then the air just comes right up over the top, and it eventually kind of cascades back down. But let's go ahead and turn this up. 107 miles per hour. 121. 134. And this is just a big, heavy pickup truck. I'm not even sure this thing. So I think probably the heaviest car that we've raced recently has been maybe 50 grams, something like that. This one would probably be pushing that. And now even at 50 grams, 50 or 60 grams, a car can still make it to the end of the track, because we've seen that with as I'm messing with this modified video racer, the combination of the video camera sitting on the Hot Wheels bases is usually up around 60 grams plus, and that car makes it down the track. It's just that it doesn't make it down the track quickly, and there's no way this truck is making it down the track quickly. We're at 147 miles per hour, 161, 174, and yeah, that is, I mean, it's typical. It's what you would expect. Trucks like this weren't made to be aerodynamic. They were made to get the job done, do what they needed to do. In this case, I don't know, that Baywatch stuff. Take lifeguards to wherever they need to go to save whoever was messing around in the water. I do happen to have the pickup truck that I was talking about earlier. This one. It is I forget what the actual name is on this. Is there a name on the bottom? There is not. This is from 1979. And yeah, so I've seen some of these at the Hot Wheels swap meet, and a new one in good condition goes for more than I'm willing to spend on this truck for nostalgia, and I don't need to, because this is the one that I had when I was a kid, and this is one I played with. You can see one of these lights got broken off, the snowplow. I'm shocked that that's still even hanging on. That plastic looks like I tried to bend it to get it off of there. And yeah, it just is what it is. Those old school Hot Wheels wheels right there. And this one, so we won't weigh the Beach Patrol truck just yet, but this truck right here, which is similar, it's bigger than the Beach Patrol. I think it's got bigger wheels. And no, it's actually a different style truck. But let's see this yellow one, what it weighs, and maybe that'll give us some idea about the Beach Patrol. That yellow truck with the snowplow, That weighs in at 59.9 grams. So that's what this one weighs in. It's bigger than the Beach Patrol. So I don't expect the Beach Patrol, if Christopher picks it, I don't expect it to come in at 59 grams, but it's not gonna be light. So that's for sure. Let's put that car to the side. And then let's take a look at the other car that Christopher is considering, which is like the polar opposite of the that truck of the Beach Patrol. It's this one. It's the Jet Threat 3.0. And this is a car that it seems like it should do well on the track. Now the question is whether or not it is how much does it weigh? So weight comes into play with both of these cars. With the truck, it's because it weighs too much, and with this car, it may be a case that it weighs not enough. And when I say not enough, it means that lighter cars tend to slow down at the back end of our track. But this one is looks to be so aerodynamically sound that maybe it'll be cutting through that air with so much speed that by the time it starts its slowdown, it won't matter because the race will be over. So let's go ahead and take this one, drop it into the wind tunnel, and see what's happening here. All right, the Jet Threat 3.0. Let's get, and it's good that we have the ability to lift these up just a little bit. Get it lifted up and get it just lined up here. Got it. All right, the Jet Threat 3.0, and it's a fighter jet inspired car, which the Dogfighter was an airplane inspired car. There have been a few others, and there are even more in the fleet. So if airplanes are your thing, then you might want to consider these. So this is actually good that we have the little blocks that I made to raise the car up a little bit, because this car is so low that if we didn't have the ability to raise it up, it would be probably beneath the smoke streams. So what we're seeing when that air first hits it is we do have air kind of tailing up as it comes off that cockpit area. And hey, Christopher, we just took a look at the Beach Patrol truck, which I believe was the other pick that you were considering, and now we're looking at the Jet Threat 3.0, and we're at 107 miles per hour. And this one's very unique because the air is hitting this center area. We're up to 134. And what it's not doing, so the air is coming up off the cockpit, and then it is sort of separating from the body, which is interesting because of, the design of this to kind of mimic an airplane. But let's move this up a little bit. It's a very uniquely designed car. So this is one that you can look at in different ways. Oh, Christopher, so you've decided, so you're going with the Beach Patrol. We were just looking at that. I don't know if you were still on. That's a bold, interesting choice. What's convinced you to decide to go with the Beach Patrol over, let's say, over this one, pushing this up to 161 miles per hour? And I think this one, Oh, and there's the Windsible telling me, hey, time's up. But time's not up, because I am going to fire this up again, because there was something that I was starting to notice with this one. And because I need to go pull out Neverending's pick. But with some of the other cars, what we see is the air building up at the front, because they have a big frontal area. And so you can see the air building up, just like with the Seared Tuner. The air was building up at the front and then had to come over the top, or the same thing with the Beach Patrol. The air was building up, had to come over the top. And with this one, we don't see any real build up at the front. That air is just coming in hot, hitting that cockpit, and then flowing right over the back part. The air that's coming underneath is just flowing right through, and that is what's happening. Did I get the updated Windsible? I haven't seen. I know that they've released the 1/18 and 1/24 scale versions, but if they have a new version of this one, I'm not going to buy it because it's probably expensive. This one was, I think, 200 something, and it's got some quirks to it, but it still works. And so it would have to, there would have to be some real serious upgrades and updates for me to spend that kind of money on another one. But it's good to see that they are working to improve it, because there's definitely some things that are, like I said, a little quirky, and things that just definitely could be tightened up, but kind of things that you expect when you buy a first edition of something, which, I kind of knew what I was getting into, and I'm been pretty happy about the way it's worked. So what I'm going to do is, we're up to 147 miles per hour. I'm going to turn this up to 161, and I'm going to go grab Neverending's car. We're going to take a look at that and see what we've got. Alright, so now, wind this down. We got up to 161 miles per hour with the Jet Threat 3.0. And we are going to take a look at Neverending's pick, which is the Buzzerk. And this is it. Now, the whole question that I have with the Buzzerk is whether or not so it's got the buzzsaw gimmick right here on the top. And I would just imagine that the whole idea is that this goes through the bottom of the car, and as it scrapes along the ground, just like any other wheel, that will make it turn. And that's kind of like the cool little gimmick part of this car. So let me move this little stand out of the way so we can see. So there's the bottom of the buzzsaw. Question is, does this reach down further than the wheels? And I think the answer is almost, because as I roll this, the buzzsaw is moving just a little bit, and I'm trying to look under the bottom. It barely touches the ground. So it's not going to slow this car down, because, let me see, I can put this here, because see, All right, let me try it with two hands. My point is, I can spin this kind of freely, and if it was actually touching the ground, then I'd be able to feel that resistance. So it just kind of barely, almost brushes the ground. But it's not anything that should interfere with this car's overall performance. Now, one thing that's noticeable right away, well, first of all, it looks like, well, it's got these, I'm not sure if those are actual faster than ever wheels, because really what that would mean is that the axles are nickel plated and create less friction, and therefore the car is able to maintain its speed for longer. But it's this back end, the back end, where we're just going to have this little point of contact, this one single point of contact with the launching block. And the thing is, usually what we've seen from all the cars is that's usually a bad thing, but what Neverending proved with picking the dogfighter is that this isn't necessarily a guarantee that a car is not going to be able to perform well on the track. So just because it only has this single point of contact, we don't usually see cars do well that have that, but it's not a guarantee that that alone is going to result in the car not doing well. So a car can still do well even if it has the single point of contact. It just has to have everything else working in its favor, because you need consistent launches to avoid having friction become a bigger issue. So let's go ahead and take this this car and throw it in the wind tunnel and see what we see. And this will be the last car we drop in here. And our lineup is shaping up. The Beach Patrol is flat in the back. The problem with the Beach Patrol isn't going to be the back end. The problem for the Beach Patrol is going to be the weight. We were looking, and it is, I haven't weighed it because we won't do that until before the races, but it is a metal on metal car, and it's old school. It's from, I believe I said 1982, and it is heavy. We had another truck that was similar that weighed about 60 grams, so it's heavy. But again, it kind of depends on matchups. But yeah. So the back end isn't going to be the issue with the Beach Patrol. With this one, we're seeing the air hit that front. It's coming up. It's being split by the buzzsaw right in the middle, and then the air is just tailing off, and it is not necessarily following any contours of the body because there's not much for it to follow. It's coming up over the top, coming up, and then you can see it's just pretty much just trailing up here. The air that's coming through across right here, it ends up hitting this part in the back and just kind of splitting off, which is not, I mean, there's not some of these fantasy cars, it's really not clear. Like sometimes the wind tunnel gives us some pretty good indications and information, and then other times it is really tough to tell, especially with the fantasy cars. We're pushing this up to 161 miles per hour. And it just looks like this airflow is just tailing off. So you're going to get a big area of low pressure, area of high pressure right at the front. It's low pressure, and I don't know. This is just one of those up in the air. It's a classic kind of never-ending wild pick, and we're going to find out if that buzzsaw just kind of lightly touching the ground, if that has an impact. The the single point of contact at the back, that very sharp, high elevated single point of contact at the back. What's that going to mean? Is this car going to be able to get good solid launches? I have no idea. And I guess the Windsible is, maybe the Windsible has something to do today, because it keeps, it'll run for a few minutes and then it's like, hey, all right, you've had enough. So we have a good solid lineup of viewer picks that will be hitting the track on Saturday. Now, the thing is about Saturday. Saturday is going to be the final stop on the Hot Wheels Legends Tour, and it's going to be here in El Segundo. So I'm going to go there, and the thing is, it happens from, I think it's from 8 to noon. So I'm going to go there, and I'm going to be taking pictures and video, and I'll be going live and live streaming from there on, most likely just on Instagram. I have to look into, I don't think I've streamed mobile from my phone to YouTube, but either way, I will work that out. I'm going to be testing something after I finish up here, and so we'll be streaming there, and then we'll do AtTheTrack.live. Still Saturday. It's just going to be, it will be later. So it will be, let's see, that's the end over 2. It'll be 2 p.m. Pacific, so 5 p.m. Eastern, and whatever time, wherever you are. But we'll be up here, and don't worry if you miss it live. You can always go to our YouTube channel, go to the live tab. All the episodes are there, time codes, everything. I know that most people watch after the fact anyway, but you're always welcome to participate live. So this Saturday, like I said, the Legends Tour, it's from 8 a.m. to noon, and I'll be out there streaming live, taking pictures, all that, and maybe we'll actually get to see a car, a full-size car that wins and ends up being the Legends Tour winner. And then a year from now, we'll see it in the stores and get to pick it up. So it's always possible. Yeah, so that, if you follow us on Instagram, and I'll put posts, and on YouTube I'll put a post and a reminder and all that about the time change and what's going to be where and when. So either way, we're going to have a good race. We've got the Surf Crate. Not sure what that car is going to do. We've got the Buzzerk, which is a Buzzerk pick. And Christopher's going old school. We're going real old school with one of the cars that I had when I was a kid, the Beach Patrol. We're going to see if any of those 3 cars can take out the new cars that I introduced, and then ultimately everybody's gunning for the BlitzSpeeder, and we will see if that is going to, one of these cars is going to take it out. We will see. So, Wind Tunnel Wednesday. This week it was actually on Wednesday. I don't know what was. I just had too much going on last week and whatever. But here we were, Wind Tunnel Wednesdays, taking a look at the cars in the wind tunnel. Go to AtTheTrack.live. Select choose a car to look through all 938 cars we have in the fleet. Find the one that you want to race, and we will. We'll be ready to go on Saturday. It'll be a little later, but there's also going to be some streaming from the Legends Tour. So we're going to be looking at some real custom cars, all kinds of things. So, all right, see you on Saturday from the Legends Tour, and then AtTheTrack.live for Wind Tunnel Wednesday, all about aerodynamics. I am Coach James, and until next time, until Saturday, I'll see you at the races.